everybody, welcome back. So a lot of you have been asking me to put out a fashion video, and ironically enough, I've actually been working on a fashion video for the last month. The reason that it's been taking me so long is that I really wanted to give you an elaborate view of what goth fashion was like in the 90s. But a lot of these designers, they're no longer in production. They don't make anything anymore. So coming across these photos have not been easy. However, I have been able to find a lot of great photos, but they needed work. Some needed color correcting. I want to get it to a point where you can really see the details of the pieces, and I also wanted to make sure that I covered as many designers as possible. Some of them still in production to this day, and you wouldn't even recognize them because their stuff kind of sucks now. I still really want to do a video about fashion, so I decided I would give you a tale on how I sourced my goth wear in the 90s when I'm a high schooler on a budget because I'm working part-time making minimum wage, which it was near impossible. But I made it work. The fun part is when you have friends that are generally the same size as you, when one person has an outfit, you all have that outfit. So it definitely worked out to our advantage. We pretty much lived in thrift stores, and our first port of call when we went in that thrift store, the lingerie section. And you're probably thinking, why would you want used lingerie? But wait, we went straight for the slips. If you're unfamiliar with a slip, it is basically just a underdress that women would wear. If the dress that they're currently wearing rides up in any way, the slip was there. So you would see the slip rather than their ass crack. And a lot of these slips were really elaborate. They had lace detail and they were really beautiful. But the older the slip, the more detailed the slip. So we always looked for the older ones. Now, we would go for blacks and we would go for whites. The white, sometimes we would keep white, but we would often just dye them different colors. We learned very quickly, black dye would just turn them some weird color of green or gray, but it was never a color that you could work with. It would just basically ruin it. So we stayed away from the black dye. So we would use burgundies, we would use blues, and actually my friend had this really great slip that she got. It was from, I think it was like the 1930s, and it was so elaborately done and so beautiful. It was a little bit longer, but it was white and it was stained. So what she did was she dyed it hot pink. I know you're probably thinking hot pink, but we layered our slips. So you would have a black slip over one of the different colored slips and it would peek out the bottom and it looked so good. So we would have this hot pink slip peeking out of the black slip, and it looked fantastic. And the fun thing about this also is that slips are made from such a thin material that no matter how much you really layered them, it would take at least 3 or 4 until it looked like you gained a pound. So the next port of call, we needed accessories, and the first place we went, the pet store. We got dog collars from the pet store, and it was a great place to actually get dog collars because they looked fantastic. They were well made, they were leather, some had O-rings here, some had studs, some had spikes. Perfect. Again, either thrift stores or a religious shop, you can find rosary beads. Now, rosaries are the ultimate in goth accessory, and you layer them up and they look perfect. So what we would do is we had rosaries, like tons. Each of us, between us, had our own huge pile of different rosaries that we would wear. And you wear one of those slips layered with the rosary beads and a dog collar, and it looked freaking awesome. So once you take all the slips and the accessories and you put them all together, it looks a little something like this. See? Cute! There was clothing from goth designers out there that we wished we can have, and stores in the city that had them, and we would torment ourselves. And we would go into the city on random Saturdays, and we'd go into the village, and we would go to stores like Trash and Vaudeville, we'd go to Religious Sex, we'd go to Ian's, and we would hit these stores, and of course Trash and Vaudeville was like the beacon, the light shining on it. You could see the storefront window was always amazing with the most beautiful clothing in the window. And the second we walked in, I mean, we tried to play it cool, but you know, the employees would take one look at us and they'd be like, oh, these kids aren't buying shit. We would play with the petticoats, we would look at them and sigh, and we would look at the corsets, and we'd look at these beautiful, elaborately done dresses with their price tags of between $400 and $700, and leave with just the residue of these items on our hand because that was all the gratification that our asses were getting. We would also do a hunt in the regular clothing stores, and the stores that we went to were stores like Rainbow, Joyce Leslie, Mandy's, Dots, and they were cheaper as well, so they were affordable, and the whole rule was, does it come in black? Sometimes you'd look out and find like a mesh shirt or a fishnet shirt. You would go in there for your staples, long black skirt, black pants, but you really let your accessories, your hair, and your makeup do the talking. Now, sometimes when you went to the thrift store, you would look out and find the most epic piece, and I did, and I never let it go. I still actually have it to this day. It's huge. I will probably never wear it, and it takes up so much damn room in my closet, but I'm going to show it to you right now. And this is like my prized find. Hopefully you can see it in this lighting. Check this out. So we have crinoline here in many, many layers. We have black. We have a sort of rose pink. And then we have burgundy. And then the bodice, as you can see, the underwire in this one keeps coming out, but there are cups for the breast, and it's almost like a chantilly lace. You can see there's a bit of a lace overlay here. So we have lace, and there's 3 layers here. You have your black lace, and then between you have the same rose pink from the crinoline. I actually think it is the crinoline, and then black underneath. And then the back, it's just a zip up. Oh, and you have clasps here that shut over the zipper so that the zipper is a little bit concealed. As you can see, amazing find. And my couch is sort of in the way, but what am I going to do with it? And at a starting price of at least $200 was the corset, the most coveted piece. I wanted one so bad, but there was no way that I could afford one. But I made do. I would order the Fredericks of Hollywood catalog, which I don't know if any of you are familiar with. Fredericks of Hollywood actually have a website now, but at the time they had a catalog which you would get at your home. And they had 2 corsets that were extremely well priced. I think they were about $40. And one was an overbust. Well, they were both overbust actually. One was overbust with straps, and one was overbust that was strapless. And I'm going to show you both. This is the strap version. It's in a black satin, and it has hook and eye closures up the front, which is identical to bra closure. And it has a lace up back, which is a party bonus, but the boning wasn't fantastic. So when you wore it for the first time and then took it off, you can actually see that it conformed to the shape of your body, and you kind of had to bend them back into place, but not a bad corset for the price. And here's the strapless version done in a black brocade with a black applique trim, which I thought was very reminiscent of a Victorian corset, very cute. But it also had the same hook and eye closures as the previous, lace up back, and it had the same problem with the boning where it conforms to your shape. But again, not a bad corset. It wasn't until I was 20 that I got my very first real corset, and it was actually one of my first online purchases, and it was through eBay. There was a seller by the name of Satin Spice, and she would hand make these beautiful corsets, and she said that she would make me a corset for $100. And of course it was a little bit pricey for me at the time, but I did my first layaway which I guess you would call it. I would send her $15 here, $20 there, until we made it up to $100, and then she would start at my underbust. So finally, we made it up to 100, and then after we did that, she said, okay, what fabric do you want? And I just wanted to be a surprise. I'm like, okay, surprise me. And when I got my corset in the mail, I was ecstatic. This is what I got, and here I am in my corset. Burgundy satin underbust corset, all-around steel boning, steel front bust, laces up the back with grommets, and the entire interior is lined in this canvas material, so it's super sturdy. And I actually made the headpiece to match, and the dreadlocks are attached to the floral crown, which I also made the dreadlocks myself. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed my journey through the 90s with my teenage fashion hacks. As always, I put up a new video probably once a week, sometimes 2 a week. If you're not subscribed already, I highly recommend it. Definitely do it. And that's it. So, bye.